Good evening and welcome to this edition of KTN Friday Briefing. My name is Betty Kialo. Glad to have your company tonight because tonight we have a special, inspiring show lined up for you, and I'll tell you why. Now, my guest anchors have done and continue to do great things. They are two ordinary men who have taken it upon themselves to do extraordinary things. Every day for the last 2 years, Matatu driver Josephat Mwangi and his conductor James Njau have been picking and dropping their passengers who happen to be persons with disabilities from their homes to their place of work. Now, according to Mwangi and Njau, they do not charge an extra cost for this kind act, but do it out of compassion. The story hit headlines this week, and tonight we have this amazing men in studio. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Mwash.
Yes.
They call him Mwash. Vizuri sana kwa nini kwa studio. Njau. So this is Njau, the conductor, and Mwash, the driver. Mnafanya kazi nzuri sana. Kwanza congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Nataka tu kujua kitu moja. Vile hii story ilienda na mkaonekana kwa TV na kwa magazeti, ni reactions gani mmepata?
Kwanza, kiangalia wale watu tunafanya kazi na drivers na conductors, mmenipongeza sana na pamoja na conductor. Nasema at least sasa kuna kitu positive watu wanaona kwa matatu.
Kwa matatu.
Wasione age tu vitu negative.
That's good. Njau, Njau.
Mimi hata abiria wale ambao nabeba ambao wengine wananijua, wanasema kwamba I'm a great hero. Kwa jambo ambalo nimefanya.
Kabisa.
Wanasema kweli watu matatu nowadays they have changed.
They have changed.
Yeah,
na mmeanza hiyo change.
Kabisa.
Congratulations, Njau and Mwash. We'll be talking to them a little bit later, but we also have a very big surprise for them, because and in regard to what they have been doing for the last couple of years, actually 2 years. So we have a very big surprise coming up, and of course you do not want to miss that. But of course first we start with the highlights.
Mr. Ruto leading as Deputy President is an abuse of leadership and integrity standards. Jubilee government should not pretend to fight graft by implicating leaders from the coalition for reforms and democracy without giving evidence, while the likes of Ruto and his allies are left scot-free.
Hii hadithi nyingine mnasikia hapa katikati, wachana na hiyo hadithi. Hii ni ya watu ambao wamepotea, ambao hawana plan, hawana agenda, hawana network, ni watu tu ya bure kupiga makelele. Hakuna haja ya kupoteza muda yetu na watu kama sampuli hiyo. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Hawa watu tunajua ujuzi yao. Ujuzi yao ni kugawanya, ni makelele, ni hadithi, ni story, ni fitina.
Find something useful to do. Ruto tells Code over demands for him to resign.
Ndio chakula zetu hao. Kwa hivyo wanawake tushuge sana hiyo mambo. Anaharibu ile mji, ameharibu kabisa. Juu sasa hiyo sehemu ndio nyumba.
Punishment for spending the night out. Nyeri wife cuts off husband's privates. Will he be set free? Judges to decide on whether Ruto's ICC case should continue.
Tumepata watu wengine ambao wameumwa na nyoka sumu mbaya sana. Kusema kweli, unaweza sema huyu mtu hata survive. Na anafika hospitalini, anapata antivenom, anatibiwa.
And man with a mission. The Mzungu teaching Nyeri how to handle snakes.
A comprehensive and incisive news show we have for you tonight, and our sign language interpreter is Marisha Owiti. Now, Deputy President William Ruto has asked the opposition to stop hounding him with constant criticism and look for something else to do. Ruto was reacting to the latest alert attack by CORD members who demanded that he resigns after admitting that he owned shares in the Western Hotel.
It was at Kathanje Secondary School in Igamba Ngombe, Tharaka Nithi County that Deputy President William Ruto joined traditional dancers in pelting out an Ameru tune. But even as he danced to the lyrics, there was another tune from the opposition whose rhythm was causing Ruto a lot of concern. On Thursday, CORD turned its fury on Ruto demanding for his resignation after he confessed on a television talk show that he owned shares in the controversial Weston Hotel. Senators James Orengo and Johnson Muthama claimed the land on which the hotel is built was grabbed through a series of questionable transactions.
In an interview on Citizen TV on Tuesday night, Mr. Ruto admitted having an interest in the hotel, contrary to claims made by his ally, Patrick Osero, in January this year, who insisted that he owns the hotel with two others, but denied that his friend Mr. Ruto is one of them. In its audited report for the years ending June 30th, 2012, the Auditor General's office questioned how the piece of land was allocated to the hotel.
Ruto says the opposition is obsessed about him and wants CORD to keep off attacking him and find something else to do.
Hawa watu ni bure kabisa. Kwa sababu shida yao ni fitina tu from morning up to evening. Wakiota wanaota Ruto. Wakiamuka wanaamukia Ruto. Wakienda kulala wanalala sijui namna gani. Si watafute kazi nyingine ya kufanya.
Wanampaka matope left, right and center about vitu ambavyo they don't exist. About corruption, about hii na ile. Lakini tunasema kwamba kama unajua deputy president amefanya makosa, usimfanyie trial kwa magazeti, kwa mabaa, kwa public rallies, peleka yeye kotini ndio koti yamue.
Ruto insists the opposition attacks on him are mere sideshows meant to distract the Jubilee administration from delivering on its agenda.
Uliza hawa vile ya kujenga barabara wanasema twende tufanye taarifa ya habari. Ukiambia hawa tuweke stima kwa manyumba wanasema tufanye kitendawili. Sasa hiyo watu ni watu ya kuongea na hawa ama ni watu ya kupoteza muda yetu?
Ruto later commissioned a community grain drying and storage facility at Mukuuni and witnessed its transfer from the national government to the Tharaka Nithi County government. Patrick Amimo, KTN.
The International Criminal Court will decide within the next 30 days whether the case against Deputy President William Ruto can continue or not. The chief prosecutor for Bensouda's case against Ruto now hangs on the decision whether she will be allowed to use evidence of 6 witnesses who recanted. And as KTN's associate editor Noor Otieno reports, that decision to be made next month holds Ruto's destiny.
The International Criminal Court is now in session.
The status conference held today at the ICC drew from the application by the ICC prosecutor Fatou Bensouda seeking to be allowed to use earlier evidence given by witnesses who have now changed their testimony. Bensouda argues that the witnesses have only recanted after being corrupted or intimidated. This appeal filed on the 28th of May sent the strongest signals yet that Bensouda's case against Ruto could collapse if the judges deny her request. At least 6 of the prosecution witnesses have severally refused to testify and even after being forced to do so, decided not to go with what they had earlier said. One witness is still refusing to take the stand. It has been a long and tortuous journey for both Ruto and Joshua Sang on the one side and the prosecutor's office on the other. The nightmare began when the then prosecutor Luis Moreno Ocampo got the ICC's clearance to charge Ruto and Sang with crimes against humanity over the post-election violence of 2007 and 2008. They were accused of murder, deportation or forcible transfer of population and persecution. Their names appeared alongside 4 others in the infamous Ocampo list released on December 15, 2010. The judges summoned them on the 8th of March 2011 and they made their first appearance before the judges 1 month later. Unfortunately for them, the charges were confirmed on the 23rd of January 2012 after the pre-trial hearings. The trial proper began on 10th September 2013, 6 months after Ruto became Kenya's deputy president. If Bensouda doesn't get her wish from the judges by the 16th of next month, Ruto and Joshua Sang could walk free just like President Uhuru Kenyatta did last December. Noor Otieno, KTN Friday Briefing.
He shocked the nation and the world at large, becoming the first high-profile individual to face head-on the dreaded war crimes court at The Hague. His maiden trip, even before the naming of the Ocampo 6, sent panic across the nation, occasioning the then President Mwai Kibaki to the cabinet for a meeting. Samogena has the details of behind-the-scenes maneuvers that jolted the then suspended Higher Education Minister William Ruto to travel to The Hague for a meeting with Luis Moreno Ocampo, the then ICC chief prosecutor.
It began with a letter to various Kenyans from the ICC requesting their cooperation with the then prosecutor Luis Moreno Ocampo over the post-election violence.
And the letter read that I have, that is Ocampo now, I have information that you could have information that can help me in investigations regarding what happened in 2007-2008, post-election violence in Kenya. I am now writing to you and asking you that you give me an appointment to come and interview you in Nairobi, or in the alternative, you come to The Hague at the International Criminal Court.
Kithure Kindiki, then the Associate Dean Faculty of Law at the University of Nairobi, would be summoned by his longtime friend William Ruto to provide counsel.
Many of the people who got their letters, they were very afraid. Some went under, some were in a panic mood, they didn't know what to do.
But for Ruto, who had just been suspended as Higher Education Minister,
I have now some more time in my hands. I intend to use it to re-engineer the game.
And re-engineer he did. The Deputy President put together a battery of lawyers and retreated into late-night meetings to design a proactive strategy, and the outcome shocked the world.
I've told you that you are going to The Hague to meet Mr. Ocampo.
Yes. Okay, that's what I'm going to do.
The surprise trip was a carefully orchestrated maneuver that was a culmination of long days and nights of meetings between Ruto and his legal team.
So I remember I left 2 days before he left, but we had agreed and we had talked, we had told him not to share this information with anybody. So the press, and nobody had an idea. Myself and my co-counsel Katwa Kigen went like 2 days before, just to make sure that certain disclosures are made to us so that we are not ambushed, including a warrant of arrest. We told him that when you're on the airside at the airport, call the press that time and tell them you have gone to The Hague to put the record straight. And I think it worked so well. This is one thing I've been involved in that never leaked out.
While Ruto's maiden trip to The Hague, even before the release of the Ocampo 6 names, was perceived a daredevil stunt, the suspended Higher Education Minister's decision sent panic and shockwaves in the country, occasioning an emergency crisis cabinet meeting.
We were in The Hague, but we could see how shaken the whole country was, including the government that time, the President Kibaki and his PNU, and also the Raila Odinga coalition, the side of the coalition. They were shaken. In fact, they did a cabinet meeting the following day because it came from the blues. Out of the blues, he said, "Look, gentlemen, I'm actually on the way to the ICC." And it was quite intriguing. It caught very many people by surprise. Some of them were calling him to tell him to come back. When he's at the airport, they are telling him, please come back, please come back.
At The Hague, the Ruto team would be thrown off guard by the voluminous pages of material said to be evidence against the then suspended minister. Upon citing the documents, Ruto's legal team will go into shock and panic.
When they gave us the disclosed evidence just before the confirmation hearings, they brought us 27,000 pages of material, and we were very shocked. It came in cartons, and we were very traumatized, but for a very short period. We locked ourselves somewhere in one of the resorts, and for about 6 days, a team of 10 lawyers, we went through document by document, page by page.
Having come in contact with the then dreaded prosecutor face to face and with all the allegations spelled out to them, Kindiki is quite succinct. The threshold at the world's war crimes court is quite low for criminal culpability.
For us, that is when we discovered that Luis Moreno Ocampo had actually duped Kenyans and had carried incompetent, if not fraudulent, investigations. Because the kind of questions that they were asking my client were just crazy questions. They just showed us newspapers, cuttings, and you could see a lot of mediocrity. You could see people on a fishing expedition.
But now serving as the Senate Majority Leader, former Ruto's lawyer says Deputy President and any other Kenyan do not deserve to be subjected to foreign jurisdiction. That homegrown problems require homegrown solutions with relevant institutions strengthened. Samugina, KTN.
Now, a man is nursing his injuries in Nyeri County after his private parts were allegedly chopped off by his wife. It is believed that the couple fought when the man returned home in the morning after spending the night out. KTN's senior reporter Carol Nderi has this story.
A crowd gathered at the Kenny West police station last evening as soon as news filtered in that a man from Bellevue, Kiawara area in Nyeri County had lost his private parts after his angered wife attacked him, chopping off his manhood. His wife, a mother of two, is seen here in a police vehicle after her arrest as she was taken into the police cells. The agitated crowd yelled at her, condemning her for the act. Residents say the 40-year-old man had failed to go home the previous night and a fight ensued between the two when the suspect allegedly found condoms in the supposedly drunk man's pocket. The men gathered at the police station lashed out at the woman for severing the man's privates.
Sisi hatujui, tumekuta na ambulance hapa. Wakasema kuna mwanaume amekatwa.
Mwadhani. Tumesikia kwamba kuna mwanaume mmoja amekatwa sehemu nyeti na bibi yake.
Ati wewe umeenda sikubiri hujakuja. Lakini
The women too were not amused as they said they would not take it lying down that a few women in Nyeri were disparaging the reputation of the West.
Wanaume ni kitu kia maana sana. Sasa ile anaenda anaharibu ile mji, ameharibu kabisa. Juu sasa hiyo sehemu ndio nyumba. Sasa kwenda kukata amefanya nini?
Na mademu wa Nyeri County mmepoteza rimari juu sasa Kenya yote mnajua sifa zenu. Mimi nilikuwa na ndoto za kuwa huku Kiawara, yani KTN constituency, but better pia.
Wanawake tushuge sana hiyo mambo. Tusirudie.
The man in question is said to be nursing his injuries at the Nyeri County Referral Hospital. We could not immediately see him when we arrived at the hospital yesterday, as we were informed that he was in theatre. The suspect was arraigned at the Nyeri Law Courts this morning and charged with beating and inflicting body injuries and offered a bond of 20,000 shillings with a surety of a similar amount. Carol Nderi, KTN, Nyeri.
Well, that very disturbing story from Nyeri County brings us to a big question tonight. And it's a question that has, of course, elicited a lot of debate. And we're asking you, was it appropriate and fair for the wife to chop off her husband's private parts as punishment? Was it appropriate and was it fair for the lady to chop off her husband's private parts as punishment? Well, that's our big question tonight. The number, of course, is 22155 to text in, but you can also tweet me, #FridayBriefing, and I'll be sampling some of the views that I'm already seeing streaming in a short while. But moving on to Nyandarua, the Nyandarua County government is looking to hire at least 50 county enforcement officers. Well, that's definitely a good thing. However, the requirements to join the force may lock out many, as the requirements are too many. Let's take a look at these particular requirements and why they are really shocking. Let's begin with, of course, the job. The job is the Nyandarua County enforcement officers. The Nyandarua County says that they need 50 of these officers. But let's take a look at the requirements, which of course have a very interesting spin. So first, let's look at the duties and responsibilities of these enforcement officers. First of all, oversee the enforcement of government laws. That's important. Ensure peace and order in public rallies and meetings. Also enforce effective revenue collection from officers. Those are the duties and responsibilities. But is this the hardest job to get? Let's take a look at the requirements. Very interesting. Must have trained at the National Youth Service. Should not have stayed 5 years since the pass out from the college. The other requirement must prove training and serving at the NYS. Well, it actually gets better. A minimum of a KCSE D grade, of course, and above. Be a resident of Nyandarua County and have the ability to interpret and implement the Constitution. And something that is not here, they should also be able to conform to Chapter 6 of the Constitution, which of course talks about integrity. Another ultimatum here, or rather requirement, clearance certificate from the Higher Education Loans Board, clearance certificate from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, tax clearance certificate from the KRA. Those are some of the job requirements. Actually some, because they are really a long list to get this particular job as an enforcement officer at the Nyandarua County government. Very interesting. If you live in Nyandarua, a resident of Nyandarua County, and you think you fit the bill, then 19th June is the D-date that you should be able to send your CV. Moving on to some more news. Senators Boni Khalwale and Johnston Muthama say members of the National Assembly acted in a childish and selfish manner when they slashed out the budgets of the Senate Judiciary and SRC and channeled it to the counties. The senators were punished by their counterparts in the National Assembly after they pushed for counties to be provided with an extra 3.3 billion shillings to fund a level 5 hospitals.
Parliament is behaving like small children. We as Senate, we did not deserve to be punished by Parliament by just asking for more funds to be taken to the counties. Since the National Assembly has demonstrated that Senate should not touch any funds. Equally, as the custodians of the counties and the county government devolution, we are going to make sure that there is no CDF, and not only CDF, no one elected leader, including the governors, who will just give direction to the executive, will be able to touch a coin of the national revenue.
It's only a stupid member of parliament who would deny the judiciary funds, because without a functional judiciary in this country, you cannot talk of law and order. You cannot talk of the fight against corruption. You cannot talk about good governance. So you cannot congratulate these MPs for denying money to the judiciary. And I want the public to know that the reason why they did this, they were punishing the judiciary because the judiciary declared that CDF was unconstitutional. As somebody who has fought corruption in this country, I don't believe a single member of parliament in the National Assembly, a senator or an MCA should be given any fund whatsoever, whatever its name, to control. Our work should remain purely oversight.
Right, we're just about to take a short commercial break right here on KTN Friday Briefing. But before that, let's have a reminder of a very interesting Big Q tonight. And of course, it's in regard to that lady in Nyeri who chopped off her husband's private parts after she came home late from a night out. And we're asking, was it appropriate and was it fair for the lady to chop off her husband's private parts as punishment? The number to text in is 22155, but the hashtag on Twitter is hashtag Friday Briefing. Let me sample one tweet here. Abdirazik Hussein says, I beg your pardon, Joseph Henry Gina says, that is next to killing someone, not fair at all. I'll be giving you some of the other comments that I'm seeing streaming in a short while. But for now, we take that short commercial break. We'll be back with our very, very special guest anchors. I'm talking about Mwash and Jao. If you do not know who they are, you need to stick around to get to know who they are and what they do. For now, let's take that short commercial break. We'll be back.
If your sore throat is not treated correctly, it could be the start of a serious illness. For effective treatment, use Strepsils lozenges. These medicated lozenges with 2 active ingredients get to work in 1 minute to relieve a sore throat. And unlike home remedies that require preparation and offer relief for a short while, but then fade, Strepsils lozenges will give you relief for up to 2 hours. Don't let sore throats get more serious. Take Strepsils lozenges today. This has been Medifax for Strepsils.
Mama, why does the moon only come out at night?
So that it can sing you a sweet lullaby.
And stars?
They make sure nothing disturbs your sleep.
Then why do these mosquitoes come?
Then let's teach these mosquitoes a lesson, because Mama has Mortein Doom, which makes mosquitoes go away and not come back the whole night. So you get a peaceful night's sleep all night long.
Mortein Doom. A peaceful night is a Mortein Doom night.
Mama amepata ball tena.
Huko sagi maneno wewe.
Family planning ndio break poa, ndio kupata toto kiasi.
Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. Family planning inaweza fanya mama awe na mpango wa kando au akose hamu wakati wa mapenzi.
Si kweli. Family planning haibadilishi tabia ya mwanamke wala kuiathiri hali ya mapenzi. Mpango wa kando au kukosa hamu ya mapenzi sana sana hutokana na kutoelewana au kutoaminiana katika ndoa. Mengi yasiyokuwa na msingi wa kisayansi yamesemwa kuhusu mbinu za kisasa za kupanga uzazi. Usiyasikize. Wache waseme. Pata ukweli kwa mhudumu wa afya.
It became a classic almost as soon as it launched. And it's allowed millions of men to avoid the irritation of an ordinary disposable razor. So how do you improve on a classic? By adding a promise: smoother shave, less irritation. It's a promise that Mark III's blade pressure reducing design allows us to make. And the trust of millions of men proves we can keep. The new design Gillette Mark III. Smoother shave, less irritation. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Hey, magari zinaenda naona kula.
I'm sorry sana mkubwa. It is this rice that will not just wait for lunch.
Nani gani?
Hii ni Falcon Basmati rice.
Alfa?
Falcon Basmati rice.
Ai ya Mungu. Toa gari kando. Na nyinyi wale mko na haraka, mnaanza kuka juu. Hii ni mazao ya Falcon.
Falcon Basmati rice is healthy, savory and tasty. Try it today. When it's the premium Falcon Basmati rice, then everything else can wait. Falcon Basmati. Uspike mchele, pika Falcon.
Welcome back to KTN Friday Briefing. Now, tonight's guest anchors have done and continue to do great things. They are 2 ordinary men who have taken it upon themselves to do extraordinary things every day for the last 2 years. Matatu driver Josephat Mwangi and his conductor James Njao have been picking and dropping their passengers who happen to be persons with disabilities from their homes to their place of work. Now, according to Mwangi and Jao, they do not charge an extra cost for this kind act, but do it out of compassion. Well, their story hit headlines this week, and tonight we have this amazing man in studio. As you can see, there they are at work every single day. For the last 2 years, that's what they've been doing, helping persons with disabilities get from their homes to their places of work. And I'm talking right to the doorstep of both the office and home, basically to ensure that they are safe. They do not have to cross any roads, especially most of the offices being along the Waiyaki Way. At least these two extraordinary gentlemen ensure that the people who they carry, the persons with disabilities, are safe and get home safe and sound. There you see them in action, just doing what they say they were called to do, and also challenging the people who are in the same industry as them to do, to have acts of kindness and to ensure that we all know that we can always do something in our own small way to make the other person's life better. And of course, we have them in studio as our guest anchors, and I want you now to meet them. Asanteni sana kwa kuja. Asante. Tumeona pale mko sasa kazini kabisa. Niulize, Mwash, acha nianze na wewe. Wanakujua sana kama Mwash.
Sawa.
Ilifikaje mpaka mkasema hii ndio kitu ambayo mnataka kufanya? Ili mlianzia, ulifikiriaje? Nani alikuja na hiyo idea?
Watu tulikuwa tunawabeba kutoka kwa hiyo stage, lakini saa ingine anakuja wamenyeshewa. Unaona mtu anatembea na clutches, hata hawezi beba, hata mwavuli akijibebe. Sasa ndio tuliona at least tuweze kuwasaidia, tuwe tunayachukua huko wanatufanyia kazi before, sababu kutoka hapo mpaka kwa stage ni kama half a kilometer hivi. Tuliona afadhali tuwe tunaenda kuwasaidia, kuwabebea huko wanatoka.
Njao, na vile wewe mwenyewe vile ni Mwangi alisema Njao, wacha tuanze hiki tusaidia ma sisters wetu, ma brothers wetu, vile ni kitu alikuambia alafu ukasema sawa tuanze, ama pia ulianza kuuliza kweli tufanye ama tusifanye? Ulikuwa already uko sold na hiyo idea?
Hapana, ni wakati tulikuwa tunafanya kazi pamoja. Sasa wakati tulianza kuwabeba, wakati wasao niona wana struggle kuja kwa gari, hata hiyo jambo ikaniingia ndani ya moyo wangu, nikasikia uzito. Nikaona ni watu kama sisi. Ndio tukashikana na Mwashi, tukamwambia kwamba hii ni idea mzuri, tusaidia watu, lakini tusitegemee kulipota na mwanadamu. Tufanye tu kama vile tuwachukue kama abiria wengine ambao huwa tunawabeba kawaida, lakini watu treat special kwa sababu ni watu ambao wana ulemavu. Sasa hilo jambo tulichukua kama jukumu letu, tukasema kwamba tuwasaidia, tusingojee malipo hapa duniani.
Na ile kitu swali watu wengi wako nayo ni watu wanawalipa pesa mingi kushinda abiria wa kawaida ama ni aje?
Tunawalipisha tu fare kama ya kutoka stage kwenda hapo. Sasa tuhesabu hii time tunaenda kuwachukua. Ile najua ni watu wanaingia polepole, wengine wanabebwa waingie kwa gari. Hatuhesabu hiyo yote labor ama time hiyo yote tunachukua. Tunawalipisha tu kawaida, bei ya kawaida ya kutoka hapo.
Nataka tuendelee na kuongea hiyo historia vile mnafanya kazi yenu, lakini kwanza nataka kujua yani ilifikaje ukajipata yani wewe ni driver, wewe ni conductor, ilianzia siku gani? Ilianzia wapi? Njao?
Mwashi tumeanzana, tulitoka na mbali sana. Wakati mimi nilikuja Nairobi, yeye aliweza kunikaribisha huko Nairobi kunifunza kazi ya matatu. Lakini Mwashi amekuwa na roho ya binadamu kabisa maishani mwake. Hajai niacha nikiwa bila kazi. Tunafanya kazi naye kabisa vizuri. Ndio.
Na Mwashi, hii kazi ulianzia wapi? Ni kitu ulikuwa unataka kufanya tangu utotoni ama ni aje ulijipata mpaka ukakuwa driver wa mat?
Mimi zaidi nilimalisha shule. Ndiona hakuna dalili ya kuendelea zaidi hapo. So ile nilimaliza hapo form 4. Nikaona sina dalili ya kuendelea. Sasa nikaa kishagi kidogo, nikaona hapana. Bali uende kidogo, tembea kidogo ujue dunia. Sasa nikajipata niko Nairobi. Kuingia Nairobi, mimi nilijipata niko kwa matatu. Sasa nimefanya hiyo zaidi ya miaka 10 kwa matatu.
Na changamoto gani ambayo mliweza kupata? Ni kazi mlianza tu hivyo na ama kulikuanga na challenges mlipata sasa mlikuwa mnataka kuanza?
Challenges zilikuwa mingi. Kwanza kama mimi sasa hilo niliingia huko ukiwa mgeni kulikuwa kubaya sana. Na watu walikuwa baya sana. Mimi sikuwa natembea na pesa kwa mfuko. Walikuwa wanachukua yote. Sasa hivi umejua.
Ukienda raundi sasa wanakupata mali wanakuibia.
Hata ukifika kwa gari before ufike kwa stage pale wanakuaga. Unajua wanakuaga sana kwa terminals. Sasa inabidi unapea dereva pesa ili umechukua before ufike hapo. Jua atachukua. Walikuwa watu wabaya sana. Sasa kuna challenges mingi na kuchapa. Wanachapa saa ingine juu wanaitisha yule jua pesa ya kuingia kwa uwanja. Unajua uwezi hata kwa boma ya mtu ingie hivi.
Lazima ufuate hiyo njia.
Lazima ufuate lakini lazima utoe at least na fikiri kuna kuangamifu mahali mingi. Ukienda mahali ukuta watu unatoa kitu niingie. Sasa hilo tulikuwa kwa kubaya. Shida siku hizi hakuna maneno mingi.
Na sasa tukikuja sasa hivi vile mnafanya hii kazi ambayo mnasaidia persons with disabilities. Watu wengine wa matatu wameona yenyewe mnafanya hii kazi. Kuna watu wengine wako inspired kuwaona mnafanya hii kazi. Wao wanasema nini?
Wengine wanafurahia. Tunajua kosagi mwingine lakini warege tumekutana nao wanafurahi sana, hata wametupongeza. Wanasema at least kwa matatu kuna kitu inaonekana positive. Njao, na nikikuja kwako ni nini ambayo kila siku ukienda nyumbani after umeshasaidia hao watu wote, ni nini unaenda nao nyumbani? Unafeel aje ukienda nyumbani ukijua umesaidia watu wote? Ulisema mbeleni unaitwa sasa hero.
Mimi tena nyumbani huwa namuomba tu kwamba niendie familia yangu. Kwa sababu mimi hawa wanadamu pia ni brothers na sisters zetu. Unaona? Sasa mimi wakati nimewasaidia huwa inanipea changamoto sana. Najua ni kuna jambo ambalo nimetenda ambalo linaweza kusimamisha wanadamu wenzangu.
Hiyo ni vizuri. Na nikikuja sasa hivi vile mko, ni nini ambayo mnaweza penda kupata ili muweze kuendeleza hii kazi yenu vizuri na pia muweze kusaidia watu wengi, sababu kwa kweli ni watu wengi wanahitaji usaidizi kama wenyu. Ni nini ambayo mnaweza taka sasa hivi currently?
Mimi nikiulizwa pande yangu, ukiangalia kama sasa taifa la Kenya hivi ni ngumu sana kupata ile gari ambayo ni accessible to disabled persons. Unaona? Sasa kama unaweza kuwa na gari kama hiyo ambayo unaweza ukipata watu unabeba kwa urahisi, hiyo ndio ikikuwa kitu ya maana sana.
Kwa hivyo ni gari ambayo inaweza iko accessible kwa watu. Njao, kuna kitu ambayo unaweza taka ifanywe ili kazi yenu iwe rahisi?
Nilikuwa naomba hata mimi tulipotaka kukuja na kuwe na gari hiyo, ninaweza kuwa na njia mzuri ambayo mtu mlemavu anaweza kuingia kwa hiyo gari hata akiwa na wheelchair yake kuja. Unaona? Na serikali pia itoe more funds kwa watu, kwa people with disabilities na warecognize kama watu.
Napenda hivyo. Na kwa sababu hivyo tuko na surprise tunataka kuwapatia jioni hapa KTN. Nataka kuleta David Olesonkok ambao ni chairman of the National Council of People with Disabilities in Kenya. He's coming down. He had planned for something, of course. You've heard what they are saying, what they need right now to be able to help more and more people. Thank you very much, David, for coming in.
Yeah.
Welcome, sir. Just have a seat. Just have a seat. Yes.
Jao. Niaje bwana. Hey. Mwash. Niaje.
David, thank you so much. I would like to know maybe very briefly what you think, excuse me, what you think of what Njao and Mwash are doing.
What I think is that they are God sent, they are angels, and we only pray that God to help them. Because of they have done, it's not something that is normally done by any other human being. They have done an extraordinary job. We just noticed accidentally when we were moving around, we saw them helping persons with disability in our place of work, that is in our offices, and we took just the shots. When we took the shots, we put it on social media, on my Facebook page, and it went viral. There was a lot of likes and other things because this is a noble thing.
Yes.
So we thank God that they're here with us. And actually, I decided that I will surprise them.
Yes, let's get the surprise. The first thing, what is the first thing?
The first thing is that since we are in the era of technology, I decided that I'll come with a phone. That is a smartphone.
Wow, wow.
This smartphone, you can Google the location of persons with disabilities.
Okay.
So that if they say they were in Kawangware, then they can actually Google where they are. And then you know our roads, then the map will show itself.
The Google
and
Maps.
then it will, the Google Maps. Then it'll just turn left, right, left, until they see the person with disability, because we are normally highly noticed because of our wheelchairs and others.
Wow.
So this one I'll hand over to
great.
Njao. This is for both of them to use in their matatu.
Wow.
So, Njao.
Thank you, Jesus. Hey, God bless you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
May God bless you abundantly.
Yeah.
I'm very overjoyed.
Wow. Thank you so much, David. I mean, this is going to go a long way in helping persons with disabilities.
And again,
there's something more.
Yeah, there's something more.
Yes.
Where we
the bombshell.
We have sat down as a council with my CEO, Honorable Gabo, and we decided that there is normally money for economic empowerment, and the persons with disability have been assisting. They can join a group because the government can give economic empowerment funds to a group of persons with disability, which is owned by 70% persons with disability. Since there are two, and they normally take around 10 of them, that means if they join a group of around 12, then the persons with disability will own 70% of that group.
Yes.
And then we will buy them a good bus.
Yes.
That will be a model of accessibility.
Wow, that's good. Wow, that's
so
good.
That
I can see Mwangi has a big smile on his face.
So that at least when we say accessibility,
and
that our transport and public transport can be accessible, then we have a model that will be sending other circles to go and emulate from.
Wow, great.
Because it coincided that on 15th June this year, that is only a few days from now, the expiry of the grace period of accessibility to public transport, to buildings, and to information by persons with disability. I first of all thank KTN, and I'm sure there will also be a surprise for KTN. That means there will be a certificate of recognition
for
KTN because of the sign language interpreter.
Great.
Other media groups don't have the sign language interpreter, and I can assure them by 15th midnight, I'll now start.
Something is going to happen.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much, David. You're doing a great job. Mwash, Njao, yani congratulations. I hope your tab mmepata, and the new bus that you'll get will come there to cover. I hope itasaidiani msaidie more and more people, na Mungu aendelee kuwabariki.
Asante sana.
So for now, nataka Mwangi nataka tukuje tufanye kitu na wewe. Kuja. Njoo. Sasa unajua mimi nimesoma news. Sasa nataka pia wewe upate opportunity ya kusoma news. Umewahi imagine unaweza soma news maisha yako yote?
Not really.
Okay, have a seat there. Watu nyumbani, uliambia watu wakochi uko KTN leo?
Nimwambia.
Kwa hivyo watu nyumbani wamekaa chini wanakuwatch.
Nimeshawaambia wamesai wanaangalia.
Wanaangalia.
Na nimewasalimia.
Wanasema daddy anasoma news leo. Okay, so unajiona pale hivyo ndo nakaa pale kwa TV. Lakini nataka uangalie hii kamera iko hapa, kamera 2. Umeona vizuri? Nataka ujiintroduce, utuambie wewe ni nani? Alafu tuintroduce your story. Sawa? Okay, all the best.
My name is Jospat Maina Mwangi. The fear of snakes is so entrenched in many people that a majority would be clueless if they came face to face with one of the worst bitten man has embarked on a mission to teach locals in snake-infested areas about the snakes, how to identify the poisonous ones, and what to do if bitten. KTN Senior Proper Carol Moderi has that story.
Well, in any particular situation, the average Kenyan would not know what to do if they encounter a snake, let alone identifying which ones are poisonous and which ones are not.
Kula kitu hawajatoka wamelala tu. Sasa kutoka wanatoa ngozi.
These creepy, crawling creatures could send chills down anyone's spine, and indeed they often do. The fear of snakes is rife in many people, but not to one Ryan Taylor, whose knowledge of snakes is remarkable. He handles the snakes with utmost ease, and he goes about his duties of teaching locals about snakes, how to identify the poisonous ones, and what to do if bitten. This is a black mamba that is highly poisonous. If his immense knowledge is not mesmerizing, then his expertise in the Kiswahili language surely is. For Ryan, the Kiswahili-speaking Mzungu speaks the language fluently as he teaches people on matters snakes.
Tuko na dawa inaitwa antivenom, na hiyo kazi yake ni kutibu mtu ambao ameumwa na nyoka. Tumepata watu wengine ambao wameumwa na nyoka kimsumu mbaya sana. Kusema kweli, unaweza sema huyu mtu hata survive, na anafika hospitalini, anapata antivenom, anatibiwa.
A third-generation Kenyan born in Kenya, and so were his parents. His ancestry goes back to Britain and South Africa. We met up with Ryan Taylor at the Lewa Conservancy, where he taught wardens and game rangers on handling snakes which they encounter while on duty in the expansive conservancy. A director at the Watamu-based Bioken Snake Farm, Ryan partners with the James Ash Anti-Venom Trust, which is named after the man who taught him about snakes and was the first curator of the snake park, the late James Ash. Having worked with locals for many years, he says the biggest inhibition is the traditional beliefs.
Sisemi mganga hafanyi kazi yake, lakini kwa mambo ya snake bite, venomous snake bite, ile nyoka ambao iko na sumu, iko na dawa moja peke yake na inaitwa antivenom.
The challenge for them now is to find enough antivenom, as there seems to be a shortage of it in many snake-prone areas.
The problem what we're having is the number of snake bites is going up and the amount of antivenom that we have is going down. So there's a desperate shortage of antivenom in Kenya at the moment.
The wardens speak of their numerous encounters with snakes in the parks.
Wakati moja tulikuwa Kishaka, tukaenda patrol, sleeping ya mwenzetu ikaingia na nyoka.
Tumekuwa familia sasa, hakuna haja ya kuua nyoka mpaka ujue ni gani, nyoka gani, na ni gani inafaa uwe kama ni iko na sumu.
Nimefurahia, mimi nafikiria ni kitu mbaya, kumbe ni kitu muhimu ya kusaidia kwa kila njia zote.
His intense medical research at Bioken Snake Farm is aimed at finding the right antivenom for all kinds of snake bites. Carol Derry, KTN, at the Lewa.
Time for business. The Salaries and Remuneration Commission is set to begin a job evaluation process on all public offices. This follows the launch of the Public Sector Remuneration and Benefits Policy, a document that will guide the evaluation process, which is aimed at taming the ballooning public sector wage bill. While speaking during the launch, President Uhuru Kenyatta called upon all the public servants to be ready to support SRC in this exercise. KTN's Charles Kitonga has the details.
Kenya's public sector wage bill has been a matter of concern to the Jubilee government since last year, and from time to time, discussions on how to tame it have taken the center stage in various government-convened forums. Today, President Uhuru Kenyatta has launched a policy document that is expected to guide the Salaries Commission on Jobs Evaluation as one of the key steps to address the problem. SRC will evaluate jobs in the national and county governments, fully government-owned parastatals, institutions where the government owns more than 50%, and the Teachers Service Commission.
I understand that the aim of this exercise is really to harmonize and to streamline pay and benefits in the public sector with a view to ensuring that public money is managed in an effective, efficient, and prudent manner.
Over the last 5 years, civil service has grown at an average rate of 3% per year, while the wage bill over the same period has been expanding at an annual rate of 21%. The civil service employs 680,000 people to whom the government pays 458 billion shillings every year, 11% of the national income against a global average of 7%. In the job evaluation process, SRC will abolish allowances that overlap the purpose of basic salaries, monitor and maintain remuneration differences between adjacent salary grades to a maximum of 20%, harmonize allowances and benefits, and freeze growth of remuneration and benefits levels of employees already earning high salaries. The remuneration review shall be conducted after every 4 years.
I am sure you will agree with me that any job that is worth any compensation can and must be measured. It does not matter the levels or the responsibility or even the qualifications.
The SRC will also introduce incentives to reward productivity and stringent punitive action to deal with poor productivity in the civil service.
Sanctions that penalize lack of performance are as powerful as positive incentives. The two should be applied with equal measure to motivate performance.
The evaluation process is further aimed at identifying skill gaps in the civil service, which will in turn inform employment needs for the government. Charles Gitonga, KTN.
The Kenya Electricity Generating Company has struck 33 megawatts of geothermal power in its Olkaria wells, further boosting the country's efforts to produce affordable and sustainable electricity. The well comes months after the company struck 30 megawatts from a single well in the same field. The new well pad, which is among the biggest in the country, firmly positions Kenya as a major geothermal power producer. Geothermal peaked last year to become the main source of electricity following commissioning of 280 megawatts from Olkaria 1 to 4, and now controls 48% of the national power production mix. To accelerate its geothermal power production program, KenGen has also resorted to mobile wellhead plants, which are faster to deploy, with 14 of such wellheads expected to be complete by 2016. Well, it's that time of the night that we go to school. Let me bring in our word master, Willis Ochieng. I think the most popular pronunciation teacher this side of the continent. Willis, it's great to see you this evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Betty. How are you?
I'm great, Willis. It's great to be back. I know last week you had Edith Kimani, but it's great to be back tonight.
And she did a wonderful job out of what you gave her.
All right. Willis, I want us to start with word on the street. And I think tonight we'll have our ribs cracked. So let's take a look.
Pre-request site. Pre-request site. Prerequisite site. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisites. Prerequisite. Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Willis, another difficult word for our dear Kenyans on the street having trouble to pronounce that word. Prerequisite, prerequisite, prerequisite. Willis, that was a tough word you gave out. How do we pronounce that word?
Well, this word is pronounced as prerequisite. Prerequisite.
Okay.
We have site, but we don't say prerequisite. We don't say opposite. We say opposite, prerequisite.
All right.
So that is the correct pronunciation.
Okay, got it, Willis. Moving on to another word that you know, is a bit troublesome when it comes to pronunciation. This word, croissant, is that the correct pronunciation when you want to mean a type of pastry? Is that the correct pronunciation?
Well, Betty, what one will see is croissant in terms of the spelling or the appearance of the word. But the correct pronunciation is croissant, croissant, or croissant. Croissant or croissant. The word originates from French. And this reminds me of another word which people also mispronounce quite often, that is poignant. Poignant, when you look at it, people will say poignant. Yes. Poignant. But the correct pronunciation is poignant.
Wow. Okay, Willis, are we already at our surprise word? Because that's a surprise. Those two words are surprises,
Not
honestly.
yet, Betty. Not yet.
Poignant. Is that, did I hear you right? Poignant?
Poignant, not poignant.
Wow.
Croissant or croissant, not croissant.
Wow. Willis, okay, you started this lesson with a bang. Let's move on to another word, Willis. There's this word that means a relatively level high ground. Do we say plateau, plateau? How do we pronounce that word, Willis?
That may be another surprise for tonight. And I don't know what a coincidence for tonight, Betty. Anyway, we say plateau, a plateau, not a plateau. Just like we say a bureau, not bureau. Plateau, not plateau. Bureau, not bureau. And we also say tableau, not tableau.
Wow, okay. So let's begin. So you say it's plateau, not plateau, all those things, especially in our geography. Plateau.
We say plateau.
Plateau.
A plateau.
Okay.
Not plateau.
All right, Willis. Got
bureau,
it.
not bureau.
All right. Got it, Willis. Moving on to another word. Do we say exemplary or exemplary?
Exemplary, exemplary, not exemplary, not exemplary, exemplary.
Exemplary. Got it, Willis. Moving on to a word that means a fertile spot in the desert where water is found. Do we say oasis or oasis?
Oasis is what we see.
Yes.
But the pronunciation of the word is oasis, oasis.
Okay, oasis. Oasis. Got it, Willis. Moving on to another word. I'll spell this one out. It's short. E-double-R. Something that means to be mistaken or incorrect. Do we say how do we pronounce that word?
To make a mistake.
Yes.
That is to err, not to err. Some people say, don't err, or to err is human, which is wrong. We say to err. To err is human.
Okay, to err. Got it, Willis. Moving on to another word. Do we say voluminous or voluminous?
Voluminous, voluminous. What we should avoid is saying luminous. Voluminous, no. Voluminous. But remember, we have volume.
Okay.
Volume, voluminous.
Voluminous. All right, Willis, got it. Yes. Moving on to our feedback question. It's funny how time flies. Simon Ndambuki from Machakos wants to know how to pronounce this word. Let me spell it out, Willis. N-I-C-H-E. N-I-C-H-E. N-I-C-H-E,
Betty, has two acceptable pronunciations.
Okay.
You can say niche, and niche, niche. But you can also say niche, niche.
Oh,
what we should not say is niche or nike.
Okay.
Niche or niche.
Niche or niche. Got it, Willis. I only knew about the niche, but niche also goes. Good. Moving on to our surprise word, Willis. You've surprised us tonight with the croissant. Croissant
or croissant.
Okay. So do you have any other word in your bag?
Tricky.
Yes, yes.
Well, when it comes to my surprise word tonight, Betty, you must have heard people talking about hookworm. Hookworm.
Yes.
Like in school or even sometimes at your place of work. Tapeworm.
Yes.
Hookworm.
Yes.
We don't say worm. We say worm. Hookworm, not hookworm.
Okay.
Tapeworm. Tapeworm, not tapeworm.
All right.
Yes.
Worm. Got it. What if you want to mean something that is not very hot? Is it warm? Warm?
It's warm. That is W-A-R-M. Like we talk of lukewarm.
Yes.
Lukewarm. L-U-K-E-W-A-R-M.
Okay.
Lukewarm.
Warm. All right.
But when it's W-O-R-M, you say warm.
Warm. Wow, Willis, got it. So what a pleasure having you on the show, Willis, teaching us those pronunciations like poignant. I'm sure that one took very many people by surprise. Thank you very much, Willis.
I know. You know, we can't be totally perfect, the way I normally say, but we have to try, especially in careers of serious communication.
All right. Willis Ochieng there, giving to us like it is here on Mind Your Language, only on Friday Briefing. Remember, you can tweet him at Willis Ochieng 1.
An action-packed and sporty day it has been. A very good evening and welcome to today's edition of KTN Sports. My name is Moses Wahisi. Starting us off, Purity Chepkoech won the women's 3,000 meters steeplechase as the Kenya Police Championship got into day 2 at the Safaricom Stadium in Kasarani. Joseph Bet, Joseph Kogei, James Kibet and marathoner Wilson Kipsang will square out in the 5,000 meters finals tomorrow. Robinson Okenya witnessed the races and bring us the details.
The battle to qualify for the finals in different races left spectators at the Kasarani Stadium entertained on the second day of the Kenya Police Championships. In the only final of the day, the women's 3,000 meter steeplechase presented new faces with an opportunity to shine. Commonwealth champion Purity Chepkoech reigned supreme in the absence of veterans like Milka Chemos. Chepkoech, who led the race from the start, chested the tape in a time of 9 minutes 49.2 seconds.
Nilikuwa naona ni kama itaweza kuwa ngumu, lakini Mungu ametusaidia.
Caroline Chepkonga finished second while Veronica Ngososh was third. Fireworks are expected tomorrow in the men's 5,000 meter race. Commonwealth silver medalist Josephat Bet will line up against former world marathon record holder Wilson Kipsang, James Kibet and David Kogei. Bet, who majors in 10,000 meters, is using the national championship to prepare for the upcoming national trials.
Sasa nilikuwa natafuta speed. Hivyo halafu tukipiga trials nakimbia 10. Nitakuwa niko sawa kwa speed na endurance.
I think it is a good chance for me to, especially given an opportunity to represent my country in the World Championships. Something good.
In the 800 meters men's semi-final, defending champion Abraham Kiplangat easily qualified for the finals in a time of 1 minute 48 seconds. In the second semi-final, Hilary Mayo finished first with Richard Kiplangat coming in second. The finals of the championship will be held tomorrow at the same venue. Robinson Okenye, KTN Sports.
And that's all we had time for in today's edition of KTN Sports. My name is Moses Wahisi. Have a lovely night.
Right, we're just about to wind up KTN Friday Briefing tonight. But before then, let's have a reminder and a review of our big question tonight. And it was in regard to the lady in Nyeri who chopped off her husband's private parts after he came home late from a night out. Let's take a look at how you polled. 70% say no, it was not fair, it was not appropriate. But 30% say it was actually fair and appropriate for the lady to chop off her husband's private parts. Let me sample 2 messages here. Not fair for a woman to chop off a man's organs as a punishment. That's Mwinyi from Likoni. Another opinion here. No, it was inappropriate. She destroyed her husband instead of building him up through forgiveness, patience, and love. That's Beatrice here in Nairobi. But someone of a different opinion says, yes, of what use is it to her if he cannot perform its function appropriately? That's Obuya, Obuya. Very interesting comments that we're getting on this particular topic. But of course, thank you so much for, texting in and sharing in your opinion on this particular topic, and also for watching KTN Friday Briefing. We still have our superheroes, as many of you are calling them, in studio. Mwash and Jao, together with the chairman of the National Council of People Living with Disability, that's David Oleson-Kok. Thank you so much, guys, for coming.
Thank you.
Njao anataka kupatiana salamu ya mwisho. Njao kuna damu ya Uluya mahali kidogo, unataka kutuma salamu. Sawa, okay. Sawa. Ni kamera hapa.
Okay.
Hii mrefu hapa.
Mtu kwanza ningependa kusalimia mama yangu kwanza kwa kunilea mpaka ambapo nimefika, na mshukuru. La pili kushukuru pia mke wangu na watoto wangu na mahali walipo najua wanitazama. Na makuru ambao tunafanya nao Wakangemi KMO wote napenda kunataka kuwasalimia. Manga Jimmy na madere wote Wakangemi, Starbus na Latema zote na washukuru wote.
Kabisa. Mwangi?
Yes. Okay. Mimi ningependa kusalimia mama yangu akiwa nyumbani kwa Mulanga. Tena nataka kusalimia bibi yangu, tuko naye huko Nairobi, na watoto wangu na wote wanemea ambao wameniangalia. Tena nataka kusalimia customers wetu wote. Bila kusahau
the most important.
Betty, anaitwa Betty wa huko PTK. Akina Triza wote, Helen, Freddy wote na wasalimia. Tena napongeza madereva wote tunafanyanga kazi yao, madereva wote wa matatu in Kenya.
Kabisa.
Mabia tuendelee hivyo.
Kabisa. David, thank you so much.
Okay.
Maybe a very brief parting shot. Very brief.
One nation, one people, one love, one God, one president, and save destiny.
I love that. No better way to end this show tonight. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Betty Kyalo, and we all say good night. Good night.